Hey class, and welcome to this week's lesson, Lesson 6. I hope you enjoyed last week with the load being a little bit lighter. I warned you, this week we're right back at it. We've got quite a bit on our plate for this week, so let's get through it. Of course, always just follow along, or if when you're watching these videos, one thing to remember is that I'm not going to talk about everything we're going to do in the week in these videos. I'm really going to kind of hit on those highlights, the main things that I want to make you aware of. If I were going to talk about everything, these videos would be really long, and then why would you need all the other coursework? So please always stick to the modules on Canvas and going through each of those, right? Just because I don't mention it here doesn't mean it doesn't need to be done. So let's go ahead and get going here. As I mentioned last week, we're going to be starting group work. So this is going to be our first week of starting that group work. Now, there's not a whole lot of work per se that we're going to be doing on the project, but we are going to be introducing ourselves to our groups. So I've placed each of you in groups. I think most of you are in a group of 5. There might be one group that only has 4 people. So I hope that works well throughout the semester. If you get groups that are too big, then it makes it really hard for everybody to participate. And then if they're too small, then the workload just becomes a lot. So hopefully, I always shoot to have between 4 and 5. Hopefully that's a good balance of workload and not so many people that it makes it hard to have everybody do something. So for our groups this week, like I mentioned, you're going to be introducing yourself. You will find a link that says that will take you to your group page, and on that page there's the discussion board, and that is where you need to introduce yourself. This is so that you can each start getting to know each other. The other part of the assignment this week is for each of your groups to decide what the mode or the way to determine the way that you're going to communicate as a group. And what I mean by that is you can use the discussion board in Canvas, right? So every week, hey guys, let's start planning out the week, who's going to do what, etc. If you want to use the discussion board in Canvas, that's great. When I've taught this course in the past, I will say the groups that seem to be more successful would use something like a Facebook group or the WhatsApp, and they would create a group there. Got to be 100% honest. Yes, I know what Facebook is, but I've never created a group on there. And WhatsApp, I know it's a messaging app. Again, I'm not super familiar with it, but I know a lot of people use them, and they're super popular. And I know especially WhatsApp is like used all around the world. So you guys determine as a group what you think is going to be best, so that you can communicate for the remaining part of the semester that you'll be working together. The group project is you're gonna have about 3 weeks where you work really closely with your group, and then 3 weeks where you're doing individual stuff. So it'll span about 3 weeks long. And I will say one thing that will be interesting, this will be my first time teaching this course where we have such a wide range of people from all across the world. Obviously I can't, with how spread out we are, it wasn't like I could really group people together by geological location. So you're probably going to have team members in way different time zones, may even be on different days. Just know that I will be understanding if things like are a day late or a couple days late because, so-and-so lives when they got the email, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, so they weren't able to respond in time. You know what I mean? So I will be very understanding of that as we do these group projects. The other thing I encourage you as we start these, this isn't anything to do with the assignment this week, but just make sure that you're participating. Every time we do group work, there seems to be, and any time I did group work in college, it always seemed like, there's like 1 or 2 people that are really the go-getters and kind of do a lot of it and are organizing it. And then there's some that kind of float by, right? And at the end of the day, the group all gets the same score. And sometimes people get really frustrated with that, right? And they're like, hey, it's not fair that so-and-so is getting the same grade as me when I'm doing way more of the work. And in a way, you're right. It's not fair that they probably get that same grade. But what I always tell people in group work is that you get what you put into it. So if you're the one doing the work and you're doing a lot of this stuff, you're getting more out of it than the person that's just kind of easing by. Yeah, they might get the grade, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not learning the skills. Okay, and we're going to be doing some Excel stuff, some things that are really useful skills to have in your professional career. So if you're not going to be the one participating, you're not going to get those skills. And that's really what we're all here for, right? You're here to learn and get skills and apply those. So definitely encourage you to get in there, participate with the group, learn those skills. That's what it's for. But also be mindful that, not everybody might have the same mentality as you, and you just kind of have to work with that. It's even when you have a career someday, I would love to say every single person I work with is a go-getter and they just get there and do their job, and that's not the case, right? Even in the workforce, you're going to run into this scenario where you've got people that are really go-getters, and you're going to have your people that just kind of skate by and maybe do the bare minimum and not much more. So that's all I've got for the group work really this week. I don't want to talk too much more on that. We'll cover more next week. Other than that, for professional skills, we will be talking about writing a professional email. This is a great skill to learn. As you can imagine, email is a huge tool in communicating. It's real convenient. It's nice. You can attach it. There's just so many uses for email. So I probably send and receive, who knows, 20, 30 emails a day almost at work. It's just constantly a lot of communication through email. So having a good, getting a good understanding of what a professional email is great. And that's what we'll be focusing on. That's what your application activity will be this week. The last thing for this week will be our math. We're going to be doing unit conversions. One thing I will say about this, and I'm not saying that everybody struggles, but it does tend to be a little bit harder of a section of math. So I would recommend starting early, so that way you've got enough time to go back and study. If you have questions, you've got time that you can reach out to myself or a tutor to get help if you need that. I would recommend getting a jump start on that math as soon as you can this week. So that's all I've got for now. Like I said, we're back at it. Busy week. Remember, getting to know your group, writing an email, and a math portion. With that, I'll leave you with that, and we'll see you next week. Hope everything's going good. Bye.